A theme of the book of Hebrews is the superiority of the New Testament as compared to the Old Testament. As we'll see in the remainder of this chapter, the author discusses the superiority of Jesus to angels. So why does the author start with angels when he begins his comparison? Verse 4 of chapter 1 says that having become as much better than the angels as he, or Jesus, has inherited a more excellent name than they, so he has a better name than the angels. The Old Testament law came in through the agency of angels. We see this in Acts 7:52 and 53, where it says, "Which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? And they have slain them which showed before the coming of the Just One, of whom you have been now the betrayers and murderers, who have received the law by the disposition of angels, and have not kept it." And Galatians 3:19 says, "Why the law then? It was added because of transgressions, having been ordained through angels by the agency of a mediator, until the seed should come to whom the promise had been made." Secondly, Jews revered angels. We know that an angel spoke to Moses through the burning bush, and also in Genesis 19:1 it talks about two angels coming to Sodom in the evening as Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom, and when Lot saw the angels, he rose to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. Thirdly, God wanted to show that this revelation that he's speaking of here was no manifestation of an angel who often appeared in bodily form, but this, the living Word, was the exact representation of God's nature. And while the angels may have proclaimed God's Word, Jesus not only proclaimed the Word, he is the Word and the representation of God. Secondly, Jesus was begotten of God. Verse 5 says, "For to which of the angels did he ever say, 'You are my son, today I have begotten you'? And again, 'I will be a father to him, and he shall be a son to me'?" So this begotten of God refers to the incarnation. Not that there was a time when Jesus was not, but there was a time when the angels were not. The author here in verse 5 quotes Psalm 2:7 and 2 Samuel 7:14. This verse is not teaching the eternal sonship of Christ. Luke 2:11 says, "For unto you is born this day in the city of David, which is Christ the Lord." In other words, his humanity was begotten by the Father. Jesus is eternal, but his incarnation marked the beginning of his bodily form. We differ from Jesus in that we came into existence at birth. We are body and spirit. Jesus was spirit, begotten body and spirit, and will eternally remain body and spirit. Thirdly, the angels worship the Son, not vice versa. Verse 6 says, "And when he again brings the firstborn into the world, he says, 'And let all the angels of God worship him.'" The word firstborn is found 9 times in the New Testament, 8 of these referring to Jesus. It's a title of dignity, as can be seen in several passages. It doesn't mean first to be created, any more than Colossians 1:18, where it says firstborn from the dead, means that he was the first to be raised from the dead. Rather, as already noted, it's a term of honor and dignity. Fourthly, the angels serve, but the Son reigns. Verse 7 says, "And of the angels he says, who makes his angels winds, and his ministers a flame of fire." In verse 13, "But to which of the angels has he ever said, 'Sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet'?" And fifthly, Jesus was there at creation, whereas the angels are part of creation. Verse 10 says, "And you, Lord, in the beginning laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the works of your hands." So the angels are servants doing his bidding, but the Son is the one who reigns. Some discussion questions that you may want to consider. Number 1, what do verses 6 and 8 teach regarding the deity of Christ? You may want to turn this off and discuss this for a moment. Secondly, what is the difference between loving righteousness and doing righteousness? Verse 9 may give you some guidance. You can turn this off and discuss that. The third question, in what way or ways do angels minister to saints? You may want to check Matthew 4:11 and Psalm 34:7 for some hints. So that ends our discussion for Chapter 1. In Chapter 2, the author will continue with his comparison of Jesus and the angels, and will discuss more fully the purpose of the Incarnation.